Sorry,
Sorry,
Jay.
Jay.
Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me? Can you hear?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start. I'm dealing with something right now.
You're
You're
fine.
Put
fine.
it on mute.
I would
I
start
would start
if you wanted
if
me
you
to.
wanted me to.
Yeah, go ahead because I'm dealing with something.
Okay. Give
Okay.
me just
Give
a
me
couple
just a couple
minutes.
minutes.
Okay.
Do we have
Do we
anybody
have
else on?
anybody else on?
Okay, I'm gonna
Okay,
give
I'm
it a
gonna give
minute.
it a minute.
Get
Get
somebody else
somebody
on.
else on.
Tell me how
Tell me how
many
many
on
you had
here.
on here.
I think it's
I
just me
think it's just me
right now,
right
Jay.
now, Jay.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I think it's
I
just
think it's
me
just me
right now.
right now.
I'm listening, but you can go ahead and start.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
I just
want to
want
start
to
if it was
start
just
if it was
me
just
and
me and
you.
you.
So I didn't
So I
know if,
didn't know if,
until you were.
until you were.
I did talk to somebody today for the late fee. I asked them about $300. You can only pay, $300. You have to pay a home service charge, pay the bill. And so I emailed Robert Gunter. I'm getting a lot of. I'd emailed Robert Gunter, which is the finance director for the city, and I haven't got a response from him. I don't know. I haven't got an answer about that. I asked him about the $50 late fee, and I was asked to give an address of what bill I was referring to. And then, of course, they wouldn't talk to because I wasn't on the account. But I don't think that should matter. A late fee's a late fee, right? And shouldn't the same late fee apply to everyone? So I don't really know why the address mattered. So I contacted that person and said, "Hey, you're gonna have to call and find out why the fees are what they are, or authorize to speak to me about it." So because it's Friday, we have to wait for a solid answer. The other thing I inquired about was somebody had approached me and said that they had filled up their above pool, and they called the city that they did they used to do a one-time pool fill up discount $50, $74. She said she called and the city, we don't do that anymore. You don't get an adjustment for filling up your pool. And so I too inquired and was told that no, we don't do that anymore. And I said, even if they don't, that water doesn't apply to the sewer. And she said, no, we don't do investment on your sewer or your water. So if it costs you $30 to pull, it really costs you $100 by the time you pay for it in the water. And I agree with not giving great big discount, but I don't think that it hurt to allow everybody a $60 one time a year discount. And then whenever I get from Robert Gunter, I will post that on the group to let everybody know what he tells me. I asked if they could. The city was able to increase the amount that a customer could pay at one time, so they didn't have to pay full service charge. I asked him who determined what the cutoff would be, and is it going to cost the city any more to up that amount? So those are the questions I asked. I'm waiting for answers on. I think it's just me and you, Jay. So we have coming up on July 25th, 9 to 12. Hold on, I'm going to pull up all the information. South Middle School. Actually, today I had a couple of police approach me And I don't know of a resource for this right off the bat, but it goes along hand in this. I have a couple of families that are struggling with buying their children school shoes, school clothes. One of them, the dad lost his job, lost a job, and the other one that is switching jobs to a better job. So they're in between jobs. So that if anybody knows of a person that can help with that, they could let me know. They're great. So we can try to get these kids, at least a pair of shoes, to start school in. Here, let me pull up something we got going on. Trying to find the Ready Fest information here. So I'll give it all to you guys. Okay. If I would just go to my Facebook, I'd probably find it. Because I know it's on there. Sorry, guys. Trying to get there. Okay. So Chloe Randolph is also backpacking school drive. They need markers, crayons, pencils, erasers, highlighters, pocket folders, loose paper, glue sticks, colored pencils. Drop this off at the participating location. Drop off is at zero. That'd be 327 Washington Street. Midas on Highway North. Toddy stick downtown on 32nd Street. Or German American Bank at 2 North Green. You can drop any of the school's off. I'm sure if you want to buy something else, nobody will turn your item away. Anything left over, the Ready Fest, down to the schools, kept at the resource center located at the Chloe Randolph organizations. If you choose, you can take money to Christie, CR the school supplies to contribute to Ready. The Chloe Randolph organization has moved to Washington Street 327. If anybody needs their assistance or needs some help out of a situation, they can provide clothing items and things, get you set up with support groups, and other resources located around.
All right, I'm here now. I'm sorry.
Hold on, I can't. Let me turn it. Now talk, Jayla.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's quiet.
Hold on. You can probably hear me better now.
Maybe it's me.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
All right, I'll move the microphone closer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was dealing with an issue. But I know you've already talked about the Ready Fest, and you talked about the late fees. And
I'll circle back to the Ready Fest a minute.
okay.
Chloe Randolph organization will be there. We right now we're working on supplies. Our goal is today, latest. We want to have about 2,000 boxes of crayon, markers, pencils. So if anybody is wanting to donate or whatever, I've had people all day long stuff. They can We have drop off locations at Todd's office, German American, Midas, and Henderson on 41, and we have boxes at Dollar General and Carton, Roberts, Green Street across from Selma V, and Spotsville. And Saturday is coupon day, so it's off 25. We will be with probably about, I feel it's probably about 30 other organizations that day at South. So it should be a wide variety of stuff that's being given out as far as resources.
Do you know if any of them, Christy, of all the people that are there? It's like one of the things which Heather did mention everything that you went over. She looked up our thing on Facebook, but she asked about, you know, if anybody is helping like with uniforms or shoes or anything like that.
Well, obviously we are the closet. I'm not sure how many uniforms we have. I mean, we have clothes, shoes. I don't know if anybody's specifically doing uniforms back to school. I mean, you have Angel Center. I don't know their dates. I'm sure Lawrence Church over on Powell Street is. But other than that, no.
All right. And since we're on the back to school theme, I want to talk about one of the things I had posted, which I had read an article. And it says mental health professionals suggest parents look out for back to school anxiety. We touch on mental health a lot. You know, I did the poll, and mental health came in first as far as what people consider a serious issue. And it says back to school jitters are common. We all experience it. So, especially those big transitions, said Brianna Davis, who is with, I think, Deaconess. Fifth grade to sixth grade, eighth grade to ninth grade. So common to experience some anxiety and nervousness. And, you know, you have to think about it. That's when you transition fifth to sixth, when you go to middle school, and eighth to ninth is when you go to high school. So I'm sure there's probably going to be, you know, some anxiety, some worry, you know, because it's going to be something totally different, totally new. So if you read that article, it was on, I believe it was 14 News. It can explain to you all the stuff you should do. You know, it explains what questions to ask your children, signs to look for, everything like that. So, so if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to give you that link. I'll post it. Well, I can repost it. I've already posted it once. Let's see. I'm not sure, other than soon to be upcoming events, we have anything other than Ready Fest. And then what day does school start?
Henderson County, August 9th.
Henderson County is August the 9th. Okay. And that's on a Wednesday.
Yes.
I don't know why they do Wednesdays, but so that is actually the second Wednesday in August. Now, let's look at Heather wanted to get some ideas on or solutions, address the homelessness, which hopefully I'll hear back from the Henderson Homeless Coalition. I'd love to get involved with them. And this is where you come into play, Christy, talking about food insecurities. Um, and I know you've been talking to one of your junior league members. Uh, are y'all coming any closer to anything on that, or how's that working out?
I've been talking about it. I haven't executed it into full mode.
Is that something that I'm sure you'd have to, but is that something that you'd have to go if you're going to do it here in the city, you'd have to go through the city, deal with city officials and stuff like that and get that done?
Well, I'm not sure that I would go through one. Obviously, I would turn it into a non-profit situation. But Feed Evansville worked really well. I'm getting a lot of kickback as I'm talking.
Try it now.
Test.
Is that better?
Test. Yes.
All right.
Feed Evansville. Lisa was really good about working with Mayor Whitney, and they have actually created a food commission over there. Like they sat down and did a review of the food pantries they had, ones that closed, what areas, communities in Evansville was lacking. And then she worked really good with farmers, food supply companies, and stuff like that. So I could probably piggyback off her idea because we have had conversations about it. But when she started, that was her and her husband starting that on their own during COVID because there was food insecurity. And then they came to her and they sat down and had a meeting of what they needed to do. So I'm sure at some point probably would have to have a conversation with Goodyear County to bring them in about food insecurity. But not to start it. Would I need to? No. Obviously, I'd want support, but I wouldn't need to.
All right. What about, let's see, some things you mentioned. We need to work on, which we've talked about it, but we need to get a resource manual together, or at least a sheet that can be handed out to people, or it can be placed in areas where people can take it. And then she had spoke about a domestic violence shelter, and I know you're working on it. It's not as easy as we would think it would be, but if you want to explain, why it's not that easy and what hurdles you're kind of dealing with at the moment.
The first issue is you have to find a location that would not be obvious to somebody driving by, walking by, you wouldn't recognize it. I use Albion and Evansville as perfect example. I knew that building existed for over 20 years, but I never knew that was and they won't just tell you their address. I've been to their location. They know me. but there's not a sign on the building. There's not a mailbox out front. There's nothing with that address. They just say PO box. And the reason they do that is for security. Cannot publicize your address because your abuser is going to come looking for the victim. So if your address is publicized, oftentimes you don't have enough security. So an abuser is going to come to the location looking for the victim to potentially do harm to not only themselves but to the victim and everybody that they feel gets in their way. That's why you cannot have it out in the open. You will never know what it is. Address publicized, and you have security. We had a location in the county. The unfortunate thing was the owner knew that it was another nonprofit that was looking at it. We had a backer at that time to acquire it. They raised the price $40,000 once the bid got put in. So now you're $40,000 above, plus what we were going to have to do to remodel it because someone came in and stole parts outside air conditioner units. It just wasn't going to work. So the other option was to look at finding and building a new facility. But then also we were going to break it up into shelter and transitional housing. Transitional housing is where you have somebody that doesn't need to go to shelter. They have started working or had a job, but their abuser was taking their money. So transitional housing would get them on track, get them educated on money, finances. They would still have to be responsible and pay something once they got to a certain point. And then they could go into their own house, whatever. That would be easier first in finding a location as opposed to a shelter. However, both are needed. It doesn't matter how many transitional housing you have or apartments or whatever. The demand for domestic violence is extremely high. With your strangulation, stalking cases that we need it.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
So I know somebody had made a comment on the post that Heather made about location. And it's not that they're not okay location, but they're known location. Buy low would not be a good fit. You might could make that into transitional housing, but not a shelter. It's out in the open. You have those apartment complexes right there. You're in a shopping center. It's not discreet.
I'm switching.
Well, and the thing, you have to have your security. I mean, you have to make sure that it's make sure that it's, I mean, there may be an issue where you have like locking double doors where you could, just for security purposes. And so I don't think a lot of people may not understand that. It'd be really great if you didn't have to have all that, but unfortunately you do. And go ahead.
I'd actually seen a picture in another community away from here, and they had almost apartment building, and each person got the apartment. The door had specialty lock on them to where they could break in it. For security purposes, staff had a there, and they had like a set up like a store where they could hygiene and clothing and that. Pretty neat. They had it. You couldn't use your phone or at the where they lived, because they didn't want somebody to be able to track. They- So I thought that was something that was a good idea. I want to say they had like 20 apartments in there. But I thought it was a neat way of setting something up, and they had, a space for support groups and things like that, for speakers to come in and talk to the ladies and stuff like that. But I felt like it gave them their own space. They wouldn't have to share with another person, and it also helped them get out of their situation and start on a path of recovery. I can't remember the name of that town. I'm going to have to look it up and see if I can find it. When we were going to Chattanooga, and I can't even remember. I was on my phone doing something and it popped up, domestic violence shelter. I was on Maps doing something, and it popped up domestic violence shelter, whatever. And I just pulled up the pictures, and there was pictures of it on their website. It didn't give the location; it just had pictures. But I'll see if I can find that town, Christy.
Okay. Well, just like now, I'm here all the time. The lights might not be on here because I'm actually at the office. Um, but I'm always back here doing something. But just like now, our new location, I have more foot traffic and any type of traffic to walk up here. And like this one, it was a combination of a situation. And okay, my only option was if I couldn't get her to safety tonight, I was going to have to put her in a hotel. And I don't have an issue in doing that, but I also don't want to leave them in a hotel past a couple days, because now you have the issue of, okay, the abuser is going to come to the hotel, and who I use, they understand. They've been very good about, they go to a certain location. They know what to do if somebody comes in and what not to say or whatever. And so I know for a fact that the shelters I have been using are full. So if it would have been a situation tonight that didn't work out the way it just did, we were going to have to go beyond Madisonville. And it's not that Evansville will turn away Kentucky victim, but the same goes for Kentucky. Okay, you're taking away from certain grants. Ask how many out of state, non-county do you take, so they can only have a limited amount. But also, Albion and YWCA have been at capacity too.
Right.
So,
well, and I had like a couple of ideas of places, so I'm going to check into those to see like what the status is on those properties, and what's going on with them and stuff like that, just to, before I, like reveal to you guys where they're at, just so I can have all the information that you guys may need, if they will potentially work. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that, as far as like, if somebody was to buy the property or lease the property or whatever, that all those things were doable before, like I said, hey, what about this one? And then it's not. Which, it would be absolutely great if we could find a grant or a donor or something that would help us just build a brand new shelter.
Well, the first time around, I had somebody, but I think, and I'm not saying they're not still there, but they're only going to do so much to where, we would have to have a grant to continue operations, obviously.
Right.
But there potentially might be a second person that would jump on board, because I've had conversations with them that.
Well, and so do we know, have you looked to see lately, is there any grants out there that would work, or is there a grant out there maybe that would match? Like if we raised 100,000, they would match 100,000?
I haven't looked lately. What I was going to do once we got the office 100% done here, because I have this upstairs space that we're going to do something with too. I was going to sit down, print every grant out, because I mean there's a bunch, and go through
Yeah.
them. Because I have somebody that can help write them too. But certain grants I don't even bother to apply for anymore, because I know they're only going to give them to the same 3 people or same 2 people that they always give them to. It's kind of like sending stuff out for bid. They have to send it out so they don't get in trouble, but they already know before they do it that they're going to give it to them.
Right. Right.
So,
Well, and I'm helping another investor that's going to do some investing. I've been helping him with some grants and write some grants. And so I'm going to reach out to him. He's also got some contacts outside of Henderson. Actually, I've got 2 people that are investors, and I'm going to talk to both of them and see. One of them lives out of state. The other one lives not in Henderson County, but close. And I'm going to talk to him and see if maybe he would be willing to invest, or if he knows some avenue of financing I'm not aware of.
All right, can y'all hear me now?
yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. One of the things I was saying was, as far as when Christy's trying to, get people to shelter and this and that. One of the issues is, and we found this out, by being involved. Um, if there's, say, somebody calls from Evansville or not in Kentucky, a lot of places they have to be in Kentucky physically before they can actually go to these shelters. So, they would have to get transportation, just say, to the organization, and then Christy could set them up where they could go. But it has to happen like that first.
Right. I just wanted to try to get like something that we wanted to work on towards a solution that we could get in the works and working towards.
Well, we have to. I mean,
Yeah.
we know what we need in the community. Now we just have to make it happen.
Yeah, we just have to get some action behind it. And I think all we can do is take one thing at a time until we get to a point where we have a few more people on board. I mean, I know I have people on board, but that I know that are committed. And then I think we can develop some of our own like committees to work on finding grants, locations, etc.
Well, and we have a lot of people locally that, when it comes to putting in the time and the effort, as far as helping, day-to-day operations and this and that, they're more than willing to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have some people that are willing to help. Some of them are people that just haven't volunteered a lot, so they don't necessarily always kind of know where to start. But I thought if we, put out there basically, hey, we're going to develop a committee of people to work on locating grants for homeless shelters and, seeing if they can find places for homeless shelters to go, etc. And then at least we can compile the information and have something to take to the city and say, okay, this is what we've done. Now, what are we going to do?
Yeah, because we're only as good as, our community. And we have to have support from the community to make things happen. All right. Let me.
So I have Carlene says she's having trouble getting on. So I'm going to send her this link.
Who?
Carlene Taylor. She's a friend of mine. She just sent me a message. So I just sent her the link so she could get on. I do not know why this is echoing. I have done everything I know to do on this phone. Oh, crap. Okay. Oh, sorry, Jay. I had you muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You hear me now?
But I was on a conference call earlier and it wasn't echoing at all. And now it is. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know what else to change. All right, let me go to my sound again.
All right.
So we'll see if Carlene comes in there. I just sent her the new or the link.
And what does she do now?
She just works in the I think she works at the mouse farm.
Oh, I don't.
She has a house out in the county, but she has 3 kids. Her mom lives on the East End and has for I don't know, a bajillion years. Ever since we were kids. And she lives right in the heart of Mill Street. So she gets to experience and see a lot of the things that happen up close and personal.
Yeah.
She's the one you may have seen. I was looking for a twin mattress a while back for her family to sleep on because she was sick and in a hospital bed, and or somebody was Carlene's grandma was. So we were looking for a mattress for them to put in the room with her grandma.
Oh.
So her elderly mom didn't have to sleep on the floor.
Now, let's see. I want to talk about one of the things somebody had mentioned was the Dust Bowl. So I did a little research. Let's see. This is the first Henderson Dust 2019. More than a dozen teams from all over the tri-state have been outside the JFK Center this week competing in the tournament. And this is a quote. It says, "It keeps the young people involved in things in a positive setting, not a negative setting. We always want to strive to show our young people that we care about them, and we need to have events so they can grow." And that's a quote by Lori Sanders, who is the president of the Henderson Black History Committee. And I couldn't agree with her more. I don't think that we have enough things for teens. I know when I was growing up, and I know I've said this probably a million times, we had the East End Arcade, we had Little Vegas, we had Purples, we had the Riverfront, we had the movie theaters, we had the drive-in. There was another one, out by where Fire Dome is at now. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, we had Louis out on 41.
Yeah, Louis. And the kids just don't have this anymore, honestly. We had Pope Swimming Pool, Axton Swimming Pool. me being growing up on the East End, it was easier. I could walk the Pope Pool, and swim. But we don't have that anymore. So we do need to do more for our youth, and events like the Dust Bowl. It's not only good for the community as a whole, but it's good for definitely the youth. It promotes our community. It brings in income. There's been several vendors there, local, that have been selling items, and it's helping them with their business, and definitely something we need to continue to do. Uh, Now, the one issue was a lady had brought up an issue about the goalpost and the fact that the basketball post did not have any padding. And if you look in, and I know this may sound stupid, but if you look in collegiate sports and you look in professional, they have padding because running into one of those poles hurts. Uh, so she brought it up, and in this post, I explained to her this is the process you would have to go through for the city. And unfortunately, it is a long, drawn out process. By the time you're not going to get anything done this year. It would be next year if we have Dust Bowl again, and I hope we have the Dust Bowl again. For the organizers, bring it back. Don't let it stop. Um, but she had, a lady by the name of Jada Kanzler had raised concerns about, why we didn't have this. And I explained the process. You would have to go to a city commissioners meeting. You would have to talk to them about it. They would have to, make a motion to vote. You have to have a second. Then you vote on it. Then they'd have to come back because it would be, a first reading. Then they'd have to come back for a second reading and say, okay, we can do it or we can't. Um, and then I find that an outstanding young man named Connor Mattingly addressed the issue. The posts right now have padding on them because Connor Mattingly made sure they did. Awesome. I mean, that's community stepping up, and that's awesome work. So I have to give a huge shout out to Connor Mattingly and Miss Jada Kanzler and all of the organizers, and definitely Lori Sanders for her statement, about showing young people that we care about them. Okay, any comments on that?
Jay, Connor has done phenomenal work. He's a teacher at the high school. Well, actually, he might be a principal now. But he is out at the high school, and those kids adore him. They listen to him. They look up to him. And he's just straight up and honest with them. He doesn't try to be better than them, smarter than them. And he's a great steward of our community for a young person. He goes above and beyond. I know there's a lot of things he does for our community out of his own pocket. I wouldn't be surprised if those padding didn't come out of his own pocket today or yesterday. Because he does that a lot. And I do think sometimes we tend to skip over the people that deserve some shout outs because they may not be a city commissioner, a mayor, a state senator, a business owner that everybody likes. So I think sometimes the people that do the hard work and the tough work and get your hands dirty work don't get seen enough. And not that any of those people do it to get notoriety, because most of us do not do it for that. We do it just for the opposite of that.
But I do think that everybody needs to know, hey, thank you for what you do for the community every so often.
Well, and the thing about it, the reason I mention it, I haven't talked to, other than on her post, Miss Chancellor's post. I haven't talked to anybody, but when I read that he came and made this possible, I'm thinking outstanding. Really, it is. Had a gentleman talking to me about, on this post about the community needs to step up more and do certain things. And one of the things he mentioned was like, if the grass is high, we can cut the grass. And like I explained to him, that would be an issue because it is a liability issue for the city. And that's insurance, that's, you have to worry about what if you're cutting grass, and and you're not a city employee, or you're not contracted by the city to do that. Then just say you're doing it and a kid's walking by or a car's driving by, something flies out of the exit chute on your mower and does damage. Well, then somebody's going to sue the city, but the city's going to turn around and sue you. And believe me, you more than likely don't have the money that the city has, or the insurance, or the bonds that the city has to cover all of that. So it's a great thing, but at the same time, because of liability issues, we have to be very, very careful of what we do. Hopefully, um, nothing happens, with Connor doing what he did, because that's what needed to be done. There was an issue, there was a problem. This young man stepped up and came with a solution to the problem. And I hope that our city leaders are thankful for what he did. I know the participants are thankful. I read all the comments that, people being involved in the Dust Bowl, the comments they left, and I know um, in this thread, there's a lot of thank you for what you did. And if if this young man's going to do this, then he needs to be recognized. And I haven't talked to him, I don't know him, um, but he did something good. And I think that, just like you said, Heather, he needs to be recognized. People, need to understand that you don't do everything for recognition, but sometimes it feels good to have somebody say thank
True. And I mean, it's just sometimes I think people get burnout, and not because they do it for recognition, but because nobody ever says thank you. And that gets hard after 20 years of volunteer work and nobody ever saying thank you. You do get tired, and then some people misconstrue it as you want notoriety, and I'm like, no. But when you're driving down the road, or you see that your neighbor's yard is a little high, instead of hopping on the phone to call codes, why not just mow the yard? Or why not just go over and ask them if they need some help? I mean, maybe their mower broke. Maybe it's an elderly lady and her son passed away and he mowed her yard. I mean, you never know. But instead of being so quick to hop on and call codes and get somebody in trouble, why not offer to help? Now, that being said, if you have offered or you can't help, then by all means call codes. But I think that we're just so quick to not offer help and kindness anymore that we've just gotten away from that. I mean, my grandfather never would have dreamed of calling codes on anybody, even if he had to get on his tractor and mow your whole field. That's what he would have done. And I think that we've just got away from being kind to people and patience and empathy.
We have. I say that, we have become so self-involved and self-absorbed that, we don't stop to think of other people around us, how we affect, what they do, because it's like I've, raised my kids, and I always explain to them, you could wake up and be in a great mood, and you go to school and somebody is in a negative mood, and then all of a sudden you're negative, because we directly and also indirectly influence. Because if my kids, one of them woke up and they was having a bad day, and they went to school, and their friends, their little group that they hung around with, all them started having attitudes, and then everybody they come into contact with, it could create a problem. So, we do need to get back to more of that. Um, just help out in any way that you can, instead of just trying to step on somebody all the time. And I'm actually glad, Lori, you are on. I was talking about an article I'd read earlier, where mental health professionals suggest that parents look out for back to school anxiety. And it says back to school jitters are common. We all experience it, uh, especially those big transitions, fifth grade to sixth grade, eighth grade to ninth grade. It's common to experience some anxiety and nervousness. How much of that have you seen through your career?
My goodness,
I see
every
every
year,
year.
I have
I
seen
have
an
seen an
increase in
increase
COVID.
in COVID.
And I'll
And
also
I'll
be honest,
be
I
honest,
see
I
it
see it
mostly in
mostly in
like in
like
middle
in
school
middle school
over to high
over to
school.
high school.
So the eighth grade to ninth grade is going to be the biggest issue.
That's what
That's what I
that's what I've
that's what I've
even some of the high
high
school
school
just being in
just
the
being
high
in the
school.
high school.
Well, and I
Well,
think
and
it's
I
a big
think it's a big
transition. Lori
transition.
can
Lori
tell
can
me what
tell
she
me what
thinks,
she
but
thinks, but
I know
I
that
know that
a lot of
a
them
lot of
struggle
them
with going
struggle with
from
going
that
from that
fifth grade to
fifth grade
sixth
to sixth
grade,
grade.
because you're going from
Because you're going from
elementary to middle
elementary to middle
school.
school.
Yes, we
Yes,
we definitely
we
see
definitely
it.
see it.
I just think
I just
the
think the
main
main
cases I
cases I
deal with
deal
middle
with
school.
middle school.
Yes, it
Yes,
is
it is
from
from
elementary.
elementary.
Because I know I have a
I have a
granddaughter
granddaughter
going this year
going this year
from
from
elementary to middle
elementary to
school,
middle
and
school, and
she's never
she's never
been,
been,
like a
like
nervous
a
type
nervous
kid
type
or
kid or
anxiety
anxiety
driven,
driven,
and I
and I
mean,
mean,
she is
she is
absolutely a
absolutely
nervous
a
wreck.
nervous wreck.
And she has
And
a
she has a
cousin that's
cousin that's
already
already
there,
there,
but
but
because of the way
because
they
of the
have
way
it
they have
split
it
up,
split
she'll
up,
probably
she'll
never
probably
see
never
her.
see her.
But,
But,
she's just
she's just
nervous,
nervous,
and
and
all of her
all of her
friends are going
friends
to
are
a
going to
different
a
school.
different
They're all
school.
going
They're
to
all
North
going to
while she
North while
goes to
she goes to
South,
South
because
because
there's no
there's no
appropriate way to
appropriate way
say
to
it.
say it.
The
The
principal at North
principal at North
Middle
Middle
School would
School
not
would not
respond to
respond to
emails or phone
emails or phone
calls in
calls in
regards
regards
to
to
her being
her
allowed
being
to go
allowed
there
to
so
go
she
there
could
so
go
she
to
could
her
go to her
sitter after
sitter after
school,
school
because her
because
sitter
her
lives in
sitter
North District.
district.
Okay, let me address that, because my understanding is it's not so much the principal at the schools as it is from superiors. Okay, because what they want to do, because there has been, I guess, I can't really say because I don't know, but I guess there's been a lot of people that are supposed to go to one school, but they end up going to another school because they put in a request to go there. And so, what they're trying, my understanding is, what I was told, is that what they're trying to do is get the districting back how it is supposed to be, so that it helps them know what a certain school needs or a certain school lacks, or when it comes to statistics and stuff like that. And I understand that to a point. You can't just Jason and Chloe was both South Middle School, and they ended up going to North, both of them, because there were issues at South. So, but we put in the request. It was approved by the principals, both at North and South. Um, and I don't think being back then that uh, superintendents or school board or anybody like that got really involved. But that's what I have been told, that what they're trying to do is get the districting back how it's supposed to be, get it equaled out so they know statistically wise, this is how this is how this is operating, this is what we need to fix here, this is how we need to fix there. So that's what I was told about that.
Well, and that may be the case, but what they told us was the principal had to approve it, period. And I agree, if that's what they're gonna do, that's fine. But you have to do that across the board. You can't pick and choose. And that's what they're doing, because her friend put in a request for the very same reason, because her babysitter is in North District that she goes to after school, and that child was approved. So, so now what happens is, yes, she is gonna be 12 years old. Is she what I would consider responsible enough to stay home by herself in the afternoon for a couple hours? Probably, but her mother doesn't want her to do that. But now she's backed in a corner with no choice, because she can't get to her sitters after school. So it makes it very, you put a parent who is trying to be responsible and do the right thing in a tough spot, because she can't afford to move into that district.
Well, in situations like that, I understand, but let me play devil's advocate. How many times has a principal or a counselor or whoever been told that, and it's not true?
Oh, and I agree, and that's why I say I'm fine with them not doing it. But I think if you're not gonna approve them, then you don't approve them for anyone.
Yeah, and that's what I would think. I would agree with that too.
But that's not what's happening. They're just picking and choosing of who they're gonna approve and not approve. And she's never been a behavior problem, never had a behavior problem. I mean, she's a cheerleader, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it's not like she has, because it says on the form, if you have behavior issues, the principal can reject the request. And I understand that, but you're teetering on a fine line of discrimination there.
If you're really good at sports, you can go to every school you want to.
Yeah, and she's a cheerleader, but she refuses to cheer for the school, so she cheers for a gym, a competition team.
Well, and it's a shame, Lori, what Lori just said. And I will tell you, when I was in high school, and if you played baseball or football, you could get away with anything. And that's just true.
Well, you have to be good, and you have to kiss the right person's butt. Because my kid was good, but I wasn't willing to kiss nobody's butt.
Well, what I will say, I started baseball, but I quit baseball because my brother Mark was very good in baseball. He was a catcher. So from little league up until high school, they didn't even ask me what position I wanted to play. I was always put into a catcher's position. So I had enough of that. But I was very good at football. And I got away with stuff, I'm not gonna lie.
that have
several
played
that have played
baseball
baseball
that should have been
that should have
canned
been
from the
canned from the
team
team
several
several
times.
times.
And the
And
things that
the
they
things that they
did were
did
just
were just
overlooked.
overlooked.
Well, and I say now, look, when I say I got away with stuff, I'm talking about being late to class or getting out of class early, or I was never involved. I don't even remember a time when I played sports that we did like the hazing incident last year. I don't know. Maybe I could ask my brother Mark because he played or he played baseball in college. Maybe they did it then. I don't know. But when I was playing sports here, it was never. We never did that. We never. I don't know. We just didn't do.
Well, I know
Well, I know
some
some
football and
football
baseball
and baseball
players that have
players
been
that have
caught
been caught
smoking weed
smoking weed
and
and
drinking
drinking
and with it
and
at
with it at
school,
school,
and
and
nothing's
nothing's
happened
happened
because,
because
they were
they
the
were the
star player
star
at the
player at the
time, or
time, or
they were
they were
a
a
educator's
educator's
child
child
or
or
whatever.
whatever.
And I mean,
And
you're
I
just
mean, you're
sitting
just
back
sitting back
presidents,
presidents,
and you make
and
our
you
home
make our
Dane
home
County
Dane
look
County
bad.
look bad.
I'm sorry. I've just started looking at I've got this line, so it looks like I've got like a weird shaped head. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get off track. But okay. So we talked about the Dust Bowl. We talked about mental health. We talked about certain things that issues Heather had addressed. Lori, since you're on here, how are we doing? Have we made any progress for any of y'all on, excuse me, on getting like even just a list, not necessarily a pamphlet or a booklet or anything like that, but maybe just a list front and back, single page of resources for people that we could put somewhere. Like if somebody comes here, here's resources, here's phone numbers, here's a contact name.
Yes, I've just
Yes,
been
I've
trying to
just been trying
compile
to
them all
compile them
into one
all into one
document.
document.
Okay. Yeah, because that's something I think we definitely, we definitely need that, and then we could put it at local businesses. Um, put it in the courthouse. Uh, anywhere that we could possibly put it that somebody needs it. That would be really good. So, all right. Does anybody have anything that they want to touch on? Because I have two topics that are going to be, I'm sure, touchy to people. So if anybody wants to discuss anything, nobody. Okay. Two of the big things that are being talked about right now, Jason Aldean and Carly Russell. Okay. The first, we'll talk about Jason Aldean. First off, this song was released May of this year. The video just came out June the 14th or July the 14th, something like that. And so I guess the setting of this, the Maury County Courthouse, which is in Columbia, Tennessee, has some, you know, bad background, things that shouldn't have happened in our country. Unfortunately, at that point in time, it did. It was acceptable, and I could only hope that we would never go back to being that way again. But I did a little research, and this Maury County Courthouse, they have been a frequent backdrop for television, movie, and music video shoots. So his is not the first one that involved this courthouse in a music video, and it's also been, like I said, in movies, and I think, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me, but I think actually like they used an image in the Green Mile from it. But it's been in several things. And so, I was reading about it, and the two big things that people are complaining about is one, that it's promoting racism, and two, that it's promoting gun violence. So I looked it up, and, I don't think it's promoting racism or lynching or any of that. I didn't look at the lyrics. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in the background of the music video that would lead you to think that, other than being filmed at this courthouse. Um, so I'm not sure as far as how people are trying to utilize that as racist or lynching. Personally, I don't see it that way. Secondly, when it comes to the gun violence issue, there's a part in there where he says, "Granddaddy gave me his gun." You know, my father bought me my first gun, a shotgun, 410. It was a 410 22 over and under. Um, and the thing about it, my father wasn't supporting or promoting gun violence. He was teaching us how to shoot and hunt. Um, you know, and I understand the difference of accessibility to guns when I was a kid compared to now. But, you know, to take someone's lyrics and say, um, oh, hold on one second. I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's in my hat right there. To say that, well, you're promoting gun violence. I mean, this is a guy who survived a mass shooting when he was giving a concert in Las Vegas. So I highly doubt he is promoting gun violence or gun ownership or anything else. He's just talking about heritage. He's talking about, uh, and I don't even know if he wrote the lyrics to this song. I didn't look that up. But I just don't see it as supporting or promoting gun violence or racism or lynching. So you guys tell me what you think.
I mean, I didn't see, I didn't view it as any of that either. He's never been one to promote those things. He's never been one to promote any kind of racism or anything like that. So, I mean, I don't really understand why he would start today.
Well, I'll tell you what. One of the most. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't understand.
Lori, you keep cutting out on us.
Yeah, I don't know what's no, don't think never have known him guns. But we all grew up, shooting guns and having fun. We can't do that anymore.
So, I've taken all of my children um, down to the river to, out in Geneva in the bottoms, and let them shoot my 40, let them shoot my 12 gauge, my uh, 22. You know, I've just let them all do it. Because I wanted them to know that mainly when you do this with a weapon, there is no reset button. There is no, oh, well, we could just reset it, or, we can get another life or whatever. That's why I did it with my kids, because I wanted them to understand having a weapon in your hands is a very serious thing. You can hurt. I mean, you could kill somebody or kill yourself if you don't know how to do it, what you're doing. It's just not a good thing. But, I just, when I was growing up, and I'm 53, uh, probably the two most controversial songs that I remember as a teenager was by Ice Cube or Ice T and Two Live Crew. And Ice T had a song called Cop Killer, and Two Live Crew had Me So Horny. And, those were very controversial songs. And a lot of people, you know, ran it down. And I'm actually surprised that the song Cop Killer, that, Ice T didn't get in a lot of trouble over. So I don't know if any of y'all know what those two songs, but they were very, very controversial when I was a teenager. I mean, it was talk, especially, well, Two Live Crew got arrested in Dade County, I think it was, or it may have been Broward, but they're right there together. They got arrested for performing that music, uh, uh, and they were actually banned from some places that they couldn't even perform because of that music. Uh, but what people didn't realize is the more that they continuously hounded on, talking about, well, this music, this music, this music. I mean, somebody made a comment on a post I saw where it was like, oh, well, what people don't realize is you're giving Jason Aldean all this free publicity. And that's what you're doing. So, the more you're bringing, the more you're complaining about it, and you're posting it, especially now all over social media, um, more people are going to watch it. You know, I didn't even know the song. I got tagged in a post about the song, and so I watched it and watched the video. And my comment was, and this may have been why I got in trouble, but my comment was, this is an FAFO situation, because, you know, so what that he's showing protests in the background. If somebody came here and started tearing up something I have, oh, I'm gonna take care of what I have. I'm going to defend what I have. That's mine. I worked for it. And one of the things my father always told me growing up, you know, we're taught, well, it's just material, you can get it back, and I'm not a materialistic person. Yeah, you believe that shit all you want to until you start messing with somebody's stuff. Then you will find out exactly how materialistic a person is.
What bothers me is this song comes out and everybody goes into a frenzy over it. But, there's only about a million songs out there talking about how it's okay to beat up women. What's the difference?
You have songs that, and it's no certain genre. You have songs that promote weapons, and I mean, as far as carrying weapons, to do harm to people, that promote domestic violence, that promote retaliation for anything you don't like, and it's country. Now you have hip hop country, you have rap, you have rock and roll, you have grunge, it's no certain genre. It comes from every genre of music. And again, my thing is, if I don't like it, I don't like it. If I do, I do. You know.
Well, that's what I was getting. You know, it goes back to that whole. Don't like something, just keep. You don't keep scrolling or keep turn all whatever. Like I just think society, our world is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You know, it's I, I can't remember. Like it was, I was watching something, and and this is going to sound bad because the organization gives out wristbands and this and that, but I was watching some show as a documentary or something. I can't remember. It's been a while back, way before what happened to our daughter happened. But in it, it said there is a different colored wristband for every cause. And I have seen so many people wear so many wristbands that I don't know how they take a bath. So, and it's good to fight for things. But, just to jump on a bandwagon, we talk about sports. Oh, you jump on the bandwagon. People jump on a bandwagon when it comes to a certain cause, because it's the topic at the moment, and it's not something that they're actually going to follow through with and stay with. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It's not, they really don't give a shit about it in the long run, but they just want to, oh well, it's the hip thing at the moment, so let's be part of it.
Exactly.
um, and then we'll move on to the Carly Russell. I actually didn't know anything about this until I saw someone made a comment about, thank God Carly Russell was safe. So then I started looking into it, and I'm like, this sounds awful weird. But, you still want to give people benefit of the doubt. And now you're finding out that she had searched the movie Taken. She had looked up different things, and she had, you know, things that pertain to uh, basically the situation that happened. And you had other people that did not notice a child, did not do this, did not see that. Um, and a lot of saying, people were like, no, that wasn't there. Uh, and I don't think, when we talk to people and we're talking about technology and stuff, I do. I explain to them that, you know, you're you have people that are worried about being tracked. Oh, I'm not going to download this, this COVID-19 app because of blah. Dude, you have no idea of every app that you download into your phone that has tracking on it, and you don't even know it probably that you're clicking allow uh, to have access to where you're at all the time. You would be surprised at the number of adults and kids that I talk to, and I explain to them. I say, "How many of y'all have social media?" Everybody does. How many of y'all post selfies? Everybody. I said, do you realize that with that selfie you post, that I can get your longitude and latitude and find out exactly where you're at that time. So if you're doing a live video like this or whatever, I can find out exactly where you're at. And you would be amazed at the number of people that have no clue. They don't know that at all. And then when it comes to searches, doing searches on your phone, I can tell you right now, firsthand experience. The day before Gabriel murdered Chloe, some of his searches were the closest international airport. What happens if I murder my spouse and get caught in the state of Kentucky? Uh, you know, what's the easiest way to get across the border without a passport? These were all things that the FBI found in his phone. So, again, a lot of people don't understand. You can delete it, but it's still there. There's always a digital track. It's just like when people, say, well, if you follow the money, or if you always have a paper trail. Now it's a digital trail, and it all is comprised of zeros and ones. It's all in code. It's all, but I read a thing the other day about like Temu, which is this hugely popular thing. Came out during the Super Bowl, talking about shop like a billionaire. But how many times, and Temu apps, it asks access not only to your location at all times, it wants access to your contacts, it wants access to your social media, it wants, why would you do that? Why would you give anybody access to your contacts, especially an app that you know nothing about other than shop like a billionaire? So, actually, how many of y'all knew that other than Christy? Christy knows it because of me, but the other two ladies, how did y'all know this?
Say, I was reading something.
I was talking about tracking on apps and stuff.
What did I know you could be tracked?
Do you realize that you are risking a lot? Like, one of the big things now is Temu, this app Temu.
Yeah.
You download this app, and it's just like a lot of other apps. It asks for access to your location, access to your contacts, access to your social media. So
Yeah, you can block all of it though.
yeah, you can. But what I'm saying is, understand that they have no clue. They have no idea. They just click allow,
Well,
allow.
and I guess I know that because of the military. Because I have a government cell phone. So pretty much a rule of thumb is if they don't want it on your government cell, you probably shouldn't put it on your personal cell. Now there's things on there like TikTok is not allowed on our government cell phones, but I do have it on my personal cell phone. But because they teach us so much about that stuff, I go on there and block all my apps and everything.
Well, and that's the thing about it. I don't think that, like I said, I've talked to numerous adults and kids, and they don't realize that you can go in there and block all of that. TikTok, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah, my
Twitter.
mom is almost 70. She doesn't know that stuff, but
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
go in
saying.
there and do it for her.
There is, you would be amazed at the number of people, even my age, 40s, 30s, 20s, teens, that do not know that you're giving all of this access to these apps. And one of the big things, the reason I brought it up, talking about Carly Russell, because one of the big things is, after I read about her, I was reading about Temu, and Temu is a Chinese based app, and you're giving access. You don't think that, well, they're not gonna. You don't stop and think that, oh well, this, I'm giving this app access to everything, and they're going to use it negatively. But look at how many accounts get cloned. I have told numerous people, you get something in a message about, the big thing is, oh, look at what happened to such and such, somebody, And a lot of people will just click on it without thinking this is a spam. They're phishing, they're wanting information. You click on it and you're hook, line, and sinker, you know? That's,
I don't know if Lori was aware of that stuff or not.
well, I'm sure she, being in the profession, she probably does. Christy knows it because, again, I know it. And it's like we told the story about, one time Brecken was playing Xbox and somebody on Xbox Live, they have all these accounts and somebody was harassing Brecken and da 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 da. So I went, I went in and did a DDoS on this guy. And most people have no clue what a DDoS is. None of the younger generation. It's a distributed denial of service, so it shuts down their network.
Well, you're not
But
explaining that
then,
exactly correctly.
but then the guy
Well,
came back and did it to me.
No, you have it reversed.
Oh, he did it to me first, and then I did it to him.
Yes, because he
Okay.
kept doing it all day long, and the boys wouldn't admit what was going on. And then
Okay.
Spectrum comes out and realizes what's going on. They got it fixed, but then you wouldn't leave it alone.
Go figure. Like, y'all don't believe her that I wouldn't leave it alone, do you?
You see, they're silent.
But I did it to him, so what? He kept doing it to Brecken. Who else was he? Just Brecken, or was it Brecken and John Michael?
I'm not sure which other child it was, child Brecken, but there was a bunch of them on there.
Yeah.
Jay, I am paying attention, but they just uploaded the agenda for the upcoming city commissioners meeting, so I was pulling it up.
Uh-oh. What's on the agenda?
I mean, nothing major. They did touch on how they dismissed Officer Shelton. I haven't got to the part where they talk about Cox yet. They are going to recognize the guy that found the escaped convicted felon in the river. They're doing a proclamation for him. They are buying. Hold on a minute. This did catch my attention. We're gonna buy some more property.
For what?
Just 1 second. Well, it doesn't really say why we're buying it. But let me pull it up here because it's out by Pratt paper.
So we're buying it so we can annex it, or?
Yeah, I didn't say why we were buying it.
That's one of the things I don't agree with any government having total control to be a real estate broker, period.
So we're going to buy a $55,000 truck for Public Works.
But yet Hart needs, Hart hasn't had vehicles, like new vehicles, for a while.
Yeah, we got a new fireboat. He reappointed some people to some boards.
Same people.
Yes, they were all the same people. It was
What's that on, Heather?
the
City agenda, city website.
Yeah, it's the city on the city website, the new agenda. It actually says the City Utility Commission, they reappointed Russell Seitz and Mark Weaver. The Henderson Tourist Commission, they reappointed Dee Patel as the Hotel and Lodging Rep. They reappointed Kelsey Hargis as to the Henderson Tourist Commission. Commissioner Pruitt thanked HPD and the fire department for their assistance with the block party.
Only the
Okay,
block
that's
party?
where they went into special session to fire Cameron Shelton. I was trying to find where they're going to buy the property. I'm looking for it because it was at close to the top. Travis Hayes is the guy that spotted the body in the water. Ryan Scott is going to be there to give a presentation. I don't know if you know it or not, but he's been appointed as the executive director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Southwestern Indiana.
Yeah, I think
Which is,
I think that's who Christy talked to. I think they had a conversation.
yeah, Ryan is very good and a good guy. And we're losing out by not having him in Henderson.
Is that who you talked to, Christy?
We actually have a lunch meeting coming up.
Okay.
Now they have ordered, and I actually had a pretty lengthy conversation with the sanitation director or whatever he is. They're getting a new truck for these gas stations or these cans, trash cans, after the first year. But it is going to cost $271,000.
On this new truck, is it? How's it equipped? Is it? Do you know? Is it equipped?
Okay,
with a skipper, or is it an arm?
Okay, so right now our current trucks that we have been
tippers?
outfitted with an arm on the back.
Yeah, it's called tippers.
Yeah, but this new truck is got the arm on the back and the side.
Okay.
So the new truck is where they can basically all you need is a driver. On our old trucks, they will still have a worker, but on that new truck, it will not really require one. It would just require the guy driving it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I touched on when we originally talked about the trash cans. But yet I was an asshole, and I was being dramatic and everything else, but with the requirements that they're putting in place, you do not have to be a neurophysicist or a brain surgeon, or it's not like you have to have a PhD to figure out this is you're putting these requirements in place so that you can take an arm, a sanitation vehicle that has an arm to collect the trash. And I'm not saying that that's not a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is when I mention it and I say it, and then I have a city commissioner tell me I'm crazy, and then other people are saying, well, I just don't understand.
No, he didn't say that, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Shouldn't I?
Well, and I called to talk to him because according to the parameters that we received on our note with our trash can, where our trash can is currently put, there was no way possible to follow those parameters.
Yeah,
And because we live on South Main, ours goes in an alley, and there is absolutely nowhere I can put it where it would be 3 feet from a fence, a car, a post, or something. So we live on South Main, not far from downtown. So they are not going to you're not allowed to put your trash can out front.
They wouldn't be able to get to it with the cars being parked on the street anyway.
So it has to go around back. And so I called for clarification on what do you want us to do? Because if I put it 3 feet away from anything, you're not going to be able to get down the alley because the only place the trash can go is going to be like down the street at my neighbors in the middle of the alley.
Yeah. So, you know,
And so he advised me to continue putting it where we always have for now, because until we get the new truck, it really is not going to come into play. And then once we get the new truck, he said they will have to still make certain exceptions. There will be the old truck with on the back. It will probably always get our trash can because the new truck will not be able to come down through there and get it because it has to sit up close to the fence.
well, and that's the thing
So
about it,
there's
you
going
know.
to be some areas where the new truck is just going to have to be used. So I did what I had to do on the phone, pick it up on myself to address, is this going to cost people their jobs? He said, absolutely not.
Yeah,
That I'm running 5 trucks and I still have on staff. And he actually, we went into, had a little more of a conversation with, so like, do you have all these strict parameters for who you hire? And he actually said, no, I will give people a second chance. He goes, as long as they do a good job, come to work, I will do everything allowed to try to get them hired. And he goes, and there are some cases where, people may have something on their record that don't necessarily fall within the city guidelines. He goes, but sometimes I can go to the city and ask for an exception to policy. And he goes, and I'm willing to do that if they're a good employee. So what I did find out was his department uses people ready, temporary staffing, because he's been so short-staffed, he had to do that. So he said a lot of times he gets them from there and he hires them online from the temp service, and then he requests another temporary.
Well, here's the thing about it. First off, um, and I had a talk. I can't. I think Christy was there when I had this discussion with the city manager, and we actually discussed, hiring policies and requirements and stuff. And like I told him, I said, there's some positions that you don't need to have X amount of experience. You don't even need a high school diploma. You have people out there that don't have high school diplomas that would work and would probably come there and stick with that job until the remainder, but you're not hiring them. And you're not finding them because of the requirements that you have when it comes to your hiring. Now, I'm not saying you do that for every position, but there are some positions that you need to say, okay, we're a little too strict on hiring policies for this. And giving people a second chance, why not? I mean, everybody changes.
I feel like the Parks Department, the sanitation, Public Works, meter readers, all of those would be candidate departments to work out something with the city, and those in trying to get straight, rebuild their life, whatever. Those departments could be candidates for those people to get a second chance. In my opinion.
And the thing about it is, I honestly think that by employing local people, you're going to save money over all of this contract labor that you're outsourcing. But the one thing that you continuously hear, and if you don't hear this, go talk to your city commissioners, your mayor, your city manager. Talk to them about hiring full-time employees. And the first thing that they're going to talk about is the pension. Yet other cities and counties, the same size, smaller, and larger than Henderson, does it. You know, I get so tired of hearing about the pension, the pension, the pension. You know what? Your ass is getting a pension. So why shouldn't somebody else? All you're
Well,
doing
and
is
I
hurting the
mean,
community.
right, and I don't feel like that should be even a factor in my opinion. Like it's one of those things where I just had this conversation. Well, me and the sanitation guy actually talked about it at length. Was, you know, we can bring up problem after problem after problem as a community. The city commissioners can bring it up, the mayor, everybody. However, until we as a community are willing to take a hard look at the true root problems and come up with solutions for those, we are never going to become a better city. We are going to continually be declining, and homelessness is going to rise, substance abuse is going to rise, violence is going to rise. So it goes back to the saying that I've heard several times over the last couple of years. Henderson's just another little Chicago, a little East St. Louis, things like that. And those problems are going to continue to grow because as a community, we choose not to look at the true root problems and try to find solutions to those because we're too concerned about our appearance.
Here's a
Yeah,
comment.
you are exactly right.
Here's a
The only
comment.
people that address anything and do anything about it is when it hits home to them. Okay, let's don't talk about domestic violence. Let's don't talk about suicide, homelessness, or anything else because it tarnishes our image over here in Sunset City. But you can best believe that we can have a beer festival and not worry about if the people that's in rehab is going to show up, or we'll just push it under the rug or whatever. We'll just give the same money to the same people, and the other people, well, we're just sorry, you just didn't fit our criteria. Or, well, we tried to do that, but we were failures, so therefore you'll be a failure.
And here's
I
the
mean,
thing.
I agree, Christian.
Here's the thing. I have given, and the offer is off the table. I'm not even making the offer accessible anymore. And Lori has brought up, and I completely understand what Lori says, about we shouldn't make it about East End, North End, South End, West End, and we shouldn't. But here's the problem, and I see it from the East End because that's where I grew up. And I saw how the East End was growing up, and I see how it is now. And I still know so many people that live in the East End that they trust me enough because I earned that trust and that respect that, they tell me things that's going on that, they think need to be addressed or need to be fixed um, so I made the offer. Oh God, 4 times that I would take any person running for office into the East End and I would accompany them so that, whoever they wanted to talk to felt more comfortable or, if it made them feel more comfortable. And 0 took me up on that 4 times. So I always say, and I made this comment in the one thread where I was talking about the Dust Bowl earlier, when the mayor made a comment. And his comment on the padding was, I'll tell Trace, who is the Parks supervisor. And so I said, why don't you go out instead of, having to see it on social media? And instead of kicking the can to the next person, why don't you go out as a public servant, not just the mayor, but your city commissioners, even your department heads. You guys are getting these budgets. You're setting budgets for what your department and this and that. But how many of you have actually gone out of your comfort zone, out of your bubble, and talked to people to find out how they feel or what they feel needs to change. You know, you've got 1.2 million, 300,000 over 4 years that you're supposed to put into the East End, and you have 5 separate committees. But how many people from the East End actually sit on those committees? People that live in the East End right now. How many of them? So you're
Well,
putting
Jay, I'm
people.
pretty sure that Robert Pruitt was at the Dust Bowl.
Well, of course, it's a fucking photo op.
I mean, yeah. So why didn't he handle the padding?
He's not going to.
Oh, I'm aware. I mean, you know, he
No,
got
I
out of the
know.
car
I'm just.
beside me a couple of days ago. Him and his wife looked me right in the face and never spoke.
He's not going to. He's a
You
pretentious
know, I
prick.
mean,
You
but
go
now I
into the
did
East
find
End.
it.
Go ahead.
So I have got it pulled up. The property that I guess they're going to buy. I'm assuming that's what this says. So I'll read it and you can interpret it. So it says municipal order approving option to purchase real estate located on Oak Garden Road between the city of Henderson and Pratt Properties and authorizing mayor to execute all necessary documents. Motion by Commissioner Viles, seconded by Commissioner Thomas, to approve the option to purchase real estate located on Oak Garden Road between the city and Pratt Properties.
So they're going to purchase. They're going to purchase farmland. Old Corton Road. It's going to be, you know, you've got the trailer park on one side, and then you got the houses on the other side. So it's going to be on the other side of the houses because that's still city right there. So it's going to be on the other side of the houses, which is all farmland.
I figure out my dang smoke alarm's going off, and there ain't no smoke in the house.
But no, like he was talking about, you know, at the Dust Bowl, and look, here's one thing I will say about him. At least he comes out for the photo ops, because the other ones don't even come out for the photo ops. They go home. So apparently, you know, even though I screw the photo ops, but you know, you don't even have enough respect for the people that elected you to actually interact with them outside of a supervised setting. So whatever, you know, that shit, that shit right there, that burns me. I just, ugh.
Well, you just have to get through November 2023. And November 2024 will be a November to remember.
Oh yeah, I'm running again, and there is no BS this time. I'm running. There's nothing they can say or do, you know. And I would love to see an actual change and have public servants that, you know, instead of just yes men, or if it doesn't pertain to how I make money, you know.
I haven't said that I'm not putting my name on that ballot either.
Well, there you go.
Hey, Jay, I'm gonna jump off for a minute
Well, you're
because
fine. I'm
nobody's
getting
home
ready
but
to end
me,
it.
and I can't figure out why this thing won't shut up.
You're fine. I'm getting ready to end it. You probably need to change the batteries.
Not, but yeah, but it's not. You know how it usually beeps, like it'll beep and then it'll stop and beep. No, like it's going off like there's a fire.
Go outside and make sure your roof's not on fire. That sounds bad, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I guess I mean, I let the dogs out real quick just in case. But like, I don't even see no smoke.
Well, you
But of
take
course,
care
my
of what you
daughter and my
need.
son-in-law are in Gatlinburg. So,
You
you know,
take
my
care.
411 ass can't even reach a smoke alarm.
You take care of what you need to take care of. Because, like
Okay,
I said,
I'll,
it's almost 8. We'll go ahead and end. I'm hungry, and Christy, just FYI for everybody, she is going to see DJ Khaled tomorrow in Nashville, Tennessee. And no, I am not going.
all right, well, I'll follow up with you here in a little bit.
That's fine.
Have fun.
So, anybody got anything to say before we kick off? Nope. All right. Thank everybody for joining. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can always be a part of it. If you want to be a guest, you can. All you got to do is a link. Next week, I'll be back on Facebook. They only banned me for 6 days. So I'll try not to offend anybody. I can't guarantee it, but thank you, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure. We get to talk about things. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all.